Good morning. Friday, 12/19. A lot of you guys are getting up for work until there is no more. All right, Revelations 18. I thought that I would read from the Aramaic, um, translated into English today. Okay. And after these things, I saw another angel from heaven who had great authority, and the earth was brightened by his glory. And he shouted with a great voice, "Fallen, fallen, Babylon the Great, and it is become the abode for demons and a prison to every impure and detestable spirit, because she mixed of the wine of her fornication for all the nations, and the kings of the earth committed fornication with her, and the merchants, corporations of the earth have become rich by the power of her mad infatuation." Let's see here. In the King James, well, let me click on the verse first. That was 3. King James uses delicacies. A lot of versions, it looks like, uses luxury instead of infatuation. But when you see what's going on, and the world is ran by these corporations and those that run those, and I heard another voice from heaven that said, "Come out from within her, my people, lest you share in her sins, that you would not receive from her plagues." To me, that means come out of the churches that are also promoting, because he's saying his people, my people. Come out of her, my people. Come out of the world, of course. Um, the study Bible for this verse, where it says, "Come out of her, my people," this call to come out is reminiscent of God's call to Lot to leave Sodom. Yeah. Leave, do not return, do not look back. Leave the world behind. Yep, that's what he's saying. My people. That is us believers. Whoever wrote this, urging them to dissociate from the corrupt system symbolized by her, often interpreted as Babylon. Yep. The world system. Yeah. Which is opposed to God. Yes, it is. Okay, so I think we're all on track here, right? I think we're all of one mind when it comes to that verse, because the sins in her have touched heaven, and God has called her evil to mind. Pay her just as she has also paid, and give her double for her deeds. In the cup which she has mixed, mix her a double, because of that in which she glorified and exalted herself. Give such suffering and sorrow, for she said in her heart, "I sit a queen, and I am not a widow, and I shall not see sorrow." So everything is just going to be prosperous. It's going to be stable, just as it has been, from whenever you were growing up, stable. But she's in denial. And I think we can say that the United States is definitely in denial. But we don't live in other countries, you guys. We just live here. So you don't know what other peoples and other nations are going through. But from what I read, and sometimes when I'm listening to other people and I'm translating what they're saying, they say the same thing as our own leaders do. So Babylon to me is the world. I think it's just easier for us to see what's going on in our own country. There's a lot of people still asleep. They don't see what's going on, though. Did I read that? Okay, I did read 7. Because of this, in one day there will come upon her plagues, death, sorrow, and starvation, and she will burn in fire, because the Lord Jehovah is powerful who judges her. I do have a question right here. Verse 8, one day. Is that a literal day? Is it an age? Is it years? I mean, because, um, a lot of people go back into like Old Testament, New Testament, where Daniel is seeing a vision. The Lord would have a ministry for 3.5 days. I don't know where they come up with all of this stuff, but um, and then there would be 3.5 years at the end. That's where I'm a little confused. Or yeah, or is it 2.5? I know Jesus, his ministry was 3.5 years, and so that leaves 3.5 years left, and so that means many centuries passed by, and you could say an age as well. So what is that? Is it years? Is it literally a day? Um, Look, Second Peter 3:8. This is just an example. I'll read from, where's the King James right there? But beloved, be not ignorant of this one thing, that one day is with the Lord as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years as one day. So we have those types of verses to contend with. Strong's, meaning tame, gentle day, i.e., literally the time space between dawn and dark. That's, yeah, literally one day. It could be hours, but several days were usually reckoned by the Jews as inclusive of the parts of both extremes. It can be a period, an age, plus always, forever, judgment, years. So, and in in this down here, I've already checked. Revelations 18 is not anywhere in here. Like a lot of verses from, a lot of verses from Revelation itself is in here, but 18 is not, which I found kind of interesting. So, but if you guys have an opinion on that, I'm open for that discussion. Okay. So 9, and the kings of the earth who committed fornication with her and exalted themselves will weep and wail concerning her when they see the smoke of her burning, as they stand opposite from fear of her punishment, and they will say, woe, 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 the great city Babylon, the mighty city, for in 1 hour your judgment has come. Once again, is that literal or is that a time? And I think it was right here. Committed sexual immorality and lived in luxury with her, symbolic of idolatry, unfaithfulness to God, and corrupt systems. All the systems on this earth is corrupt. And you'd be surprised at what we do every day to play in that field. Things that you just think are normal. Okay. Kings of the earth, the political powers and authorities. Yes, and they have aligned themselves with Babylon. So, once again, is the United States Babylon? It is worldly. It's not just us. It's everyone. And look, they weep and wail. They're so sad that it's falling all around them. Well, I'm sorry. I just had to. It's like it's so messed up. It's like when Nimrod was raising his fist, at God, because God was like, "Oh heck no, you're not building that any further." And he just in an instant changed the languages among them so they couldn't understand each other. Awesome. Awesome. Okay, so yeah, they're sad because their whole world is falling around them. And there was something else. It might be further. Okay, it's 11. And the merchants of the earth will weep and grieve over her, and there's no one buying their cargo again. This one really stood out to me. I could have probably just said steady, I don't know. Um, this phrase highlights the global impact. Now, this is whoever wrote this is their opinion, but there was something in there that I thought and felt from the Lord was important because it's what I see. But I'll read it to you guys, which I know you guys can do on your own. I know you guys know how to read, so I'm not saying you can't. Whoever wrote this says the phrase highlights the global impact of Babylon's fall, symbolizing a powerful economic center. Merchants represent those who profit from trade and commerce, and their mourning indicates the loss of economic prosperity. In biblical context, Babylon often symbolizes a system of worldly wealth and corruption. The merchant's grief reflects their dependence on this system, where the fall, it's reminiscent of Ezekiel, another great trading city. Anyway, it leads to widespread lamentation. So when these systems fall, they've been so engrossed in them. They love the power. They're very greedy people. They don't care about the poor, and so they're very distressed. Just wailing over the loss of what has happened and what they are losing, because after all, they didn't want to be the poor. They just wanted to subject others to being that way, to slaves and things like that. And they're like, no, we're not that. We're gods. Um, but listen to this. So it says, because there's no one left to buy their cargo, the cessation of trade underscores the complete destruction of Babylon's economic power. This phrase suggests a sudden and total collapse, leaving merchants without a market for their goods. So right now, we have seen everything leave the United States, right? I mean, we were a great power. We had factories, we had, all kinds of industry. And we got so greedy that they went to other countries. China is big now. China does everything. And, um, but now we're at a time that no one's really buying anything. I mean, that in this country, at this time of the year, you'd be seeing a lot more growth and buying, and it's not happening. Now you're going to probably hear Trump or those in the media who say things are great, but it's not great. And anyway, I think there was another one also. I think it's further down. Okay, so yeah, no one's buying, and they're trying to take the dollar away. They're trying to take us into this. Well, a lot of places, the UK, Russia, Japan, they're really big in digital currency. I mean, the digital ID. I mean, those countries are leading the way, like Russia, Japan, China, especially. China is like number one. Um, so that was 11. Okay, I think it's going to be this next one. Cinnamon, spice. I don't know if I read 12. Cargo of gold and silver, and of precious stones, of pearls, of fine linen, of purple, of silk, scarlet, of every fragrant wood, and every ivory vessel, every precious wooden vessel, and brass, iron, and marble, cinnamon, spices, ointments, frankincense, wine, oil, fine white flour, sheep, horses, chariots, and the bodies and souls of the children of men, slaves. That's what that is. Everybody wants to think of, when they think of slavery, they're thinking of people that came over on ships and, at any given time, even now, but they always think of a certain color, and we're all slaves. We're all slaves to these people. Don't think just because you're not wearing physical chains on your wrist, you have chains on your wrist and you don't realize it. It's normal. It's normal to do this. We grew up believing it's this way, and then you just keep getting pushed into this and slaves. So when you're bound to this world, you're going to be a slave. And your own pleasant fruits have departed from you, and everything luxurious and splendid is gone from you, and you will not see them again. And the merchants of these things who grew rich by her will not find them, and they will stand opposite from fear of her punishment, weeping and lamenting. Isn't that sad? I mean, like, They're so greedy and so power hungry, and they just love to lord that over you. Look, it says, her own pleasant fruits have departed from you. I have my take on that, but let's just see what this says. Let's just see if I'm in agreement. Often represents the outcomes of one's actions, whether good or bad, signifies the loss of what was once deeply desired, indicating a judgment on misplaced priorities. The nature of earthly desires is seen in, okay, where Solomon speaks of the vanity of worldly pursuits. Yeah. Um, all your luxury and splendor have vanished. Let's see. Wealth. Okay. Yeah. Outward signs of prosperity. Yes. I also think that, okay, if I had read more, against the dangers of wealth and the full security it provides. Yeah. I also think that when I think of that, I'm thinking of something a little more spiritual, where when these things happen, it's like God is leaving us. Like you can feel his presence leaving. So that means a great darkness. Uh Sodom and the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah, okay. Serving as a warning against pride and self-indulgence. Anyway, when I read this, I'm just like, what I'm seeing like in the spirit is just everything going away, jobs, um, yes, all the plagues that it speaks of, famines, locust. I mean, when I read this, that's what I'm seeing. And people don't understand that all of these things that are happening, you know, it's not just one thing. It started a long time ago, especially for us. Other countries have already been going through this probably their entire lives. Like you can say people in Africa, they've seen these things forever, their whole lives. They've seen nothing different. But for countries like us who've had it better, you're going to see the same things. And you have to say we deserve it. The country has become very prideful and arrogant. And so I can only speak for our country because this is where I live. And the merchants of these things who grew rich by her will not find them. Yep, no jobs. And no people will, they're like, why did we do this? Why did we put AI in charge? Why did we want this? Because they're going to screw themselves. And they will stand opposite from fear of her punishment, weeping and lamenting, and saying, alas, alas, the great city that wore fine linen and purple and scarlet, gilt and gold and precious stones and pearls. For the wealth is lost in 1 hour. I hope it is literally 1 hour, but it's going to hurt for everyone that's here. But you should be prepared because you guys have been reading these words probably a lot longer than I have known them. So you should already be, your hearts and your minds should already be prepared. In this way, also, every ship navigator, everyone traveling in a ship to places, and the ship captains, and everyone who does business at sea, the merchants, stood from a distance, and they lamented her when they saw the smoke of her burning, and they were saying, who is like the great city? And they cast earth upon their heads and shouted as they wept and lamented, and they were saying, alas, alas, great city, by which those who had ships in the sea grew rich from her magnificence, which is destroyed in 1 hour. So they're yelling this. And then we have verse 20. Rejoice over her, Babylon. So he's telling his to rejoice over Babylon. O heaven, holy ones, apostles, and prophets, because God has executed your judgment upon her. See? So all those that believe in God, Jesus the Christ, he's taking his vengeance, his wrath out on Babylon. Those unbelievers and all those people who said, Lord, Lord, but they fell away. They bought into the system of the beast. And one of the angels took a mighty stone, great as a millstone, and cast it into the sea and said, in this way, with violence, Babylon the Great will be thrown down, and it will not exist again. I want to do a little happy dance, but I will spare all of you. And the sound of stringed instruments and of trumpets and the various singers and shouting will not be heard in you again. No joy. They will not have any more joy. And the light of a lamp will not appear to you again. And the voice of a groom and the voice of a bride will not be heard in you again. So no more festivals, no more, um, you know, weddings and I guess festivals, holidays could be the same thing. All of those. Just darkness, sadness, because this was a wicked world. Babylon is a wicked world. Okay, so the voice of the groom and the voice of a bride will not be heard in you again, because your merchants had been great ones of the earth. For by your sorceries you deceived all the nations. And in her was found the blood of the prophets and the holy men who were murdered on earth. Okay, let's go over a few things. Sorceries. So this is not only witchcraft, but in Greek, I think it's Greek, that word means pharmakia. So think about all the words that come from pharmakia. We have pharmacies, pharmaceuticals, what comes out of those things, the healthcare system. Um, they have become very wicked, very deceptive, um, and those who got into it to do good, probably a long time ago. I don't know who really gets into it to do good anymore, but I think it's all about making money. So that means they go along with everything that they're told to do. They just do it. And then we have over here, in her was found the blood of the prophets and holy men who were murdered on earth. I don't know about other nations, and I know that other nations, they have what you would call holy men. Um, how holy really are they? Not very. They're shamans and witch doctors and things like that. But what we know of prophets are from the Bible, God's word. And who were killing, who was killing the prophets and the holy men? Who? They're not going to get away with it. There are going to be people all over this earth, whether you're from China, Africa, Russia, UK, anywhere in Europe, anywhere over here in the United States, South America. God has his chosen all over, all over. And there's not going to be one nation on the earth that isn't going to see his wrath. Every nation, every tongue is going to see his wrath. And out of every nation, he has his. So it doesn't matter what language you speak, he has children everywhere. And they're persecuted. I mean, more persecuted in some countries than others. But it's coming because look at all the chaos that they are creating. And once again, I can only talk about this country because this is where I live. We're all going to see it. It's happening all the time. And it's not because, people see these things. It's because what we hear and see on social media, on the television, they push things all the time and they cause things to happen all the time. They pay people to have things caused. And then it's put out for you to consume and people eat it up. And then they cause, and you're going to see it everywhere. Look at all the movies they have. I mean, you have all the Purge movies, and I don't think there's one movie or even one show out there that they have put out that is holy and righteous. I mean, you're not going to find that anyway here. I mean, even a lot of the Christian movies are tainted with those who have produced them, um, and then they always embed lies in those as well. But I mean, if you want to see true wickedness, just look at anything that they put out now. And that gets into people's hearts and minds, and they're going to act it out themselves. That's how it is. I mean, take the music industry, you have certain genres, and all it does is it's just vomit. And certain um, groups of people, they love that. They love that music, and they want to be just like that. So the nation is going to be judged because you want to do wicked, you want to do evil, then wrath and judgment is going to come upon you. All right, that was 18 today. Sorry for my little tirade. We'll do 19 tomorrow, and I love you. I pray that you guys are reading his word and getting to know him, and I will talk to you tomorrow, God willing. Bye.